Hey, it's Anika, and this is the second video of our online Java course. Today we'll be going over data types and variables. Let's say we're holding a lemonade stand and we want to calculate how much money is rolling in. How would we do that? Well, instead of typing in a bunch of random numbers into a calculator and losing our place, we could write down some values. For example, we'll say the number of lemonade cups sold is 4 million. We can find the cost of each ingredient, mark down how much we're selling each cup for, mark down how much of each ingredient we've bought, so that way, when it's time to pull out our calculator, we somewhat know what we're doing. Let's say the pixels on your computer screen are having a party, and they've called on you to supply them with lemonade. How would you be able to write a Java program to see your profit? Well, let's take a look at variables. Variables are basically containers that store data. Variables each have a name and can be created with the assignment operator, which is a fancy name for the equal sign. Each variable has its own data type. For example, data that's an integer is stored in a variable of type int. For decimals, they're stored in double or float. Characters are stored in char. Whether something is true or false is stored in a boolean, and words or sentences are stored in a capital S string. Let's do a sample program. First, we've got to create a new class. Let's name it data types. Let's try int num equals 5. Well, everything's fine with that, so let's try int number equals 5.4. Well, we get an error, and it says type mismatch, cannot convert from double to int. Well, 5.4 is a decimal, which is a double, and this double can't go inside an integer value. Only integers can go inside the integer value. Let's try double x equals 4.5. Well, this has no error, so let's try double x equals 4. Well, this has no error either. That's because 4 is a decimal. It can also be written as 4.0. For characters, always remember that it's a single quotation mark. And for strings, it's a double quotation mark. Let's try another thing. Let's delete the 5 over here. So we have int num. We don't have an error with this. So later on inside our code, we can insert the number into the variable. So we get num equals 5. There's nothing wrong with this. But if we did int num equals 5 again, we get an error that says duplicate local variable num. So we can't have two variables named num, but we can assign the value of num later on inside of a program. Now let's work on a mini project. We shall begin our lemonade stand by declaring variables for all the values we need to store. You can go ahead and pause this video and do this project. Basically just write down all the variables and all the values for those variables. I've already finished, so after you're done, we can go over it. Okay, I'm assuming you're finished. Let's go ahead and look at the lemonade stand. So I have the number of cups sold, the number of ingredients, the price of each ingredient, and the cost of each cup. Remember that system.out println statement I was talking about? And remember when I said you needed quotation marks? Well, if you want to print out the value of a variable, you don't want to use quotation marks. So let's say we want to print out the value of num sugar. To do that, we just write system.out.println num sugar. And it prints out the value of num sugar, which is 40. So that's it for this class. But we haven't finished with the lemonade stand program yet. We still need to calculate the profit. We've only set the values in the variables. The pixels aren't satisfied yet. Thanks for watching.